And we're going to show you an end zone view of the last play. In fact, we'll start the show with this. Now, I understand we have a lot of you that are Oklahoma State fans. We would start this off either way because it's a remarkable play. This is from the back. Look, I want you to, you're going to see the chaos in the Baylor defense. We understand it's fourth down, 4th and goal. Baylor, Terrell Bernard tries to call timeout. The umpire gives him a timeout. There are no timeouts left. Baylor could have been penalized here. But then they came back on the field. They set the clock back up to 25 seconds. There was 8 seconds at one point. You could see this. And there's still mass. It's a run blitz, by the way. Everyone hit a gap. Watch Siaka Ika in the middle. He takes a guard in center. And then here comes Jerry McVay. And Stewart within inches of the pylon.
Well, it's a perfect play call by Mike Gundy, and it was. I mean, you had to rely on, Baylor had to rely on Jaron McVay making the play, and when you're one-on-one on offense with a running back, you often think that you've got the upper hand, and Jaron McVay made a fantastic play. And the next time Baylor fans complain about the, incompetency of the Big 12 officials, remember that time that it worked out for you.
It was a remarkable play. We were on the complete opposite side of the stadium in the press box. Gut-wrenching loss for Oklahoma State, exhilarating loss, and Baylor's now won three Big 12 titles since 2013. I still keep going back to that play, and that's just a different level that I saw, a different angle as well. Baylor in the Sugar Bowl against Ole Miss and trying to get their first ever 12-win season if they can beat Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin as well. Craig?
Yeah, it was an incredible game. That's a good angle to show the timeout that was called that wasn't called, and Baylor got very fortunate in that instance. I can see where Oklahoma State fans would be upset by that. But ultimately, you got stopped 4 times straight on the goal line, not just once, but 2 go-rounds. And you give a lot of credit to Baylor for that. Just an unbelievable effort play by Jaron McVay. I've watched it 100 times by now to see every single angle imaginable and watch every single inch of grass that was touched and every angle and you said Stewart, but Desmond Jackson was the Oklahoma State running back, and watched his feet and how he looked like he started to slip at the end, and if he had ducked his shoulder like a lot of people said and cut up field. But you can look at it from a lot of different angles, and some angles it looks like he could have done that but might have still been stopped short. Some angles looks like he could have cut up and may have gotten in easily. It's just, but then you actually speed it up to regular speed, and you see that not everybody can sit at home on the couch and go, well, I would have cut that ball up and dipped my shoulder. And it's like, watch it at full game speed and tell me that you would have just made that decision that quickly because you did that as a sophomore at, Toluca High School, in 1982. I mean, come on now. That was a bang-bang play. Yeah, Desmond Jackson is probably feeling lower than just about anybody, and I hope he's okay. I hope mentally he's staying strong. I hope his teammates supported him because that is the nightmare. That is the complete opposite of the dream that you have as a kid of reaching out and scoring the game-winning touchdown and winning a championship. He had the complete 180 of that, and I can't imagine how painful that must have been. But you know what? Somebody had to give up that play. Either Baylor was going to be on the receiving end of that or Oklahoma State was going to be on the receiving end of that. That was a play that it all came down to, even though Baylor still had to get the ball out of the end zone after that with one more quarterback sneak from Blake Shapen to run out the clock. But just unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable game. I thought they had no chance to win that game. I was telling Paul, I was like, they screwed up with that 4th down call. They totally screwed themselves with that 4th down decision. And it turns out that they nearly did, but they didn't quite because this team's a bunch of fighters. And to see teams go out and win, like throw the game-winning touchdown is one thing, but to see a team goal line stand somebody and come all the way down to like the 2-inch line, there's just something magical about that, man. And to do it 4 straight plays, that's just unbelievable stuff. Like that's awesome. And so happy for guys like Jalen Petrie, Jaron McVay, Terrell Bernard, et cetera, for the full ride that they've been on and it ending the way that it did.
Rod Webb was telling me, and I thought I was thinking about back-to-back timeouts. Rule in football is different than basketball. No penalty for calling a timeout in football that you don't have. But it did create chaos in Oklahoma State. Who knows if they could run the play there. But by delaying the game, I don't think that calmed Baylor down any. I don't think that was less chaotic. It was absolute, just an unbelievable effort by by obviously Jaron McVay to find, it was almost a matter of speed, physics, gravity, all of that at the end. One note, I got this note about Jaron McVay. I talked to his father, Danny, after the game, and I also talked to him a little bit earlier today. Remember the great name in Kansas City Chiefs history, University of Houston history, and also in the days of back in the day when you had San Antonio Brackenridge High School. There's a guy named Warren McVay, a great name. It's a distant cousin of his father, so that means Jaron McVay, he wears jersey 42, and when Warren McVay was in high school back in the day and with also University of Houston, he wore jersey number 42. Somebody asked me that today on Twitter, and I found that out. I know that's little of any consequence, but I thought that was a pretty good note.
Well, his story's been amazing. I mean, he was a walk-on, and Matt Rule and them, brought him on board. And Phil Bennett, didn't Phil Bennett talk a little bit about Jaron, or was that right after?
Yeah.
But, it's kind of in that same time period of that transition from the Browl staff to the Rule staff. And Jaron was just a, non-recruited, kind of probably undersized, just overlooked player that walks on, and they obviously saw something in him. And I pulled up a quote from, 4 years ago that Matt Rule had said about him being one of the best athletes they had on the team, and that was 4 years ago. And then 2 years ago, or around 2 years ago, he ends up earning a scholarship a year to two ago. And now here he is in the biggest game that Baylor's played in, at least 3 years, because they were in the title game against Oklahoma a couple years back. But they won this one. And I mean, that's program changing. To go out and win a Big 12 championship game and do it in the style that they did, that's program changing. Like, they've won Big 12 titles before, but this is different. Like, this is different. To go out and beat Oklahoma State the way that you did and the style that you did. I mean, again, like, you throw a touchdown, a Hail Mary, you win a game that way, that's cool. If Desmond Jackson wins on that run into the end zone, that's awesome. Like, that's going to be a huge moment. That crowd's going to explode and all that. But to have your backs against the goal line and not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 freaking times in a row, stonewall their butts. I mean, that was unreal, man.
And 7 times overall.
And 7 times overall. That was just incredible.
Yeah, if Desmond Jackson was 6 feet tall, he would have scored maybe 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter of that game, and then we're not talking about this. The other thing is that historically, since Baylor's gotten good at football again, since Art Briles came back, they've not been great at any game past 12.
No.
So you get in that 13th, 14th game or so, it's not been the best for them. So, and to win in those big moments, I think that's pretty huge. I think that's enormous for them.
Well, that's one of the things that I've been talking about a little bit here lately, is just the opportunity that was in front of them to win this Big 12 title. It's kind of the feeling that I'm sure Oklahoma State has, is sort of an empty feeling of you get there, and it's great to get there, but, man, it means so much more to win it, And, like, you can get there, but ultimately until you win it, it's that's what creates that next step up, that next level up. And, man, Oklahoma State was so close. Nothing but respect and hats off to the Cowboys. That was a tremendous effort. Obviously, not having Jalen Warren, specifically with what we're talking about as well. He probably scores on some of those plays. There's no doubt. So to not have him, which I didn't expect, I was surprised by that. That was a really big blow to not have your starting center. Obviously, you look at what Siaki Ika did, and that. So, yeah, an incredible ball game.
No, it's incredible. Again, it's one of those we could go in 9